Ah, welcome to your unique devotion. I'm a little extra sleepy this morning, but I'm not going to let that stop me from doing a devotion because it's good for me, it's good for you, and hopefully it'll start to wake me up a little bit more. No excuses. So, we're back at the beginning of John chapter 6, and I'm going to be reading Feeding the 5,000, and then God has put something on my heart for me to think about today, and maybe it helps to guide you in something that draws you closer to Him. So, here we go, let's get started. As always, you need your listening ears. Alright, here we go. After these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. Then a great multitude followed him, because they saw his signs, which he performed on those who were deceased. And Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. Now the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was near. Then Jesus lifted up his eyes, and seeing a great multitude coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread that these may eat?" But this he said to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may have a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a lad here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish, but what are they among so many?" Then Jesus said, "Make the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, in number about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to the disciples, and the disciples to those sitting down, and likewise of the fish, as much as they wanted. So when they were filled, he said to his disciples, "Gather up the fragments that remain, so that nothing is lost." Therefore they gathered them up, filled 12 baskets with fragments of the 5 barley loaves, which were left over by those who had eaten. Then those men, when they had seen the sign that Jesus did, said, "This is truly the prophet who is to come into the world." Many have heard the story of the feeding of the 5,000, the turning a little bit of bread and fish into a lot. There's some other things kind of stand out to me a little bit as very interesting and neat, and but the one that stands out the most for me, it just sort of kept resonating, the big question for the day. A God's talking to me. Maybe he's talking to you. Do you believe that God can take every little thing that is in your life and turn it into abundance? I got the every little thing, but that doesn't make them less important. So the words also to kind of fit in there, seemingly insignificant. Do you believe that God can take every seemingly insignificant thing that is in your life and turn it into abundance? I don't know your circumstances, I don't know what your goals are in life, but whatever you're facing right now, whatever you're going through that's holding you back in some area of your life from being where you want to be, that is the little bit of bread and a little bit of fish. You feel like you can't get anywhere else with it, you can't go any further with it. But if God can take that little bit of bread and fish and feed 5,000 just like that, out of nowhere, he can take anything in your life and turn it into something great and abundant. I'm thinking here, I want to get so specific, but I don't know your circumstances. But in my life, sometimes the place where I work, sometimes I feel insignificant. But what I don't realize is I'm here for a purpose. Sometimes God has that purpose rolling even though I don't see it. And therefore, I use the word therefore again. Sometimes those seemingly insignificant days where you're like, why am I even here? This is dumb. You know, they don't need me. Obviously, they could do it without me. He can turn that day, just flip it around and turn it into something that you see as important. It's there. And sometimes those days, there's a struggle. I think we all struggle with that when it comes to our jobs, careers, work, whether we love them or not. But he can take those seemingly insignificant thoughts that are in here and feeling here and turn them around into something of, but I do have a purpose. It just hasn't been revealed yet. I am impacting those around me. So if I change my actions toward a more godly action, others will see that and it'll affect them in some small way, and in turn affect someone else in some small way, and affect someone else in some small way, and constantly growing out. So my seemingly insignificant day can easily be turned into affecting others in a very positive way, in an abundant way. So that's just something, that's an example from my life. I'm sure you can find examples in your life. So look for those seemingly insignificant things today and try to envision where God can turn them into abundance. I hope that God gives you all the blessings you deserve today, and even more so, all the blessings you don't deserve. Have a wonderful day.